So welcome back. This video is on kindness. So the yoga value of kindness. How do we become more kind to ourselves and to others? And maybe you're already a very kind person, and I'm sure you are. And I would like to share just a few more insights into how we can cultivate kindness to ourselves and to others in a way that helps us live a really happy and balanced, contented life. So the first point I'd like to make is it's important to practice being kind to ourselves first. Yeah, we are the closest person to us, and sometimes we forget to be kind to ourselves. You know that saying, it's good to put your own oxygen mask on first before you help others? Well, yeah, it's very, very true for our lives in general. With the different social pressures in today's society, there's almost like this unspoken expectation, if you like, that we need to give all the time to our family, to our jobs, and in the end we might end up depleted in our own physical health, and we might be stressed and tired and never feel like we're doing enough of what makes us feel joy and makes us feel happy and healthy. And let's be honest, it's pretty hard to find that balance these days in this modern context. So let's talk about practically about how we can do more of that. And for me personally, I was on this treadmill very much so a few years back, and I realized this was happening to me, that I wasn't putting my own priorities first. So being kind to myself meant actually just taking a pause in my life. So I did spend some time just taking a pause, as I might have told you before, living in my van and living creatively and house sitting, which wasn't an easy transition to start with, because I had to let go of my old ways and social conditioning about what it meant to be happy and successful. But I just took some time to really be there for myself. And I hadn't really taken this time like this in a long time in my life, in fact, ever. I was just kind of in the treadmill of going to work and going home and getting more. And when I lived in my van, what I loved a lot was the resting. It sounds quite luxurious, but I actually allowed myself to rest. So I talk in some of my blogs about resting rebelliously, because I have this internal voice of, oh, you're not doing enough, or I have my mum's voice coming at me, or my dad's voice, you're being lazy. But maybe we can reframe that as just really giving back to ourselves. So for me, it really gave me a good boost, spending long afternoons just resting and looking at the trees and reframing my thinking about rest not necessarily being lazy. All right, the second point I wanted to make about kindness is that we all have a good wolf and a bad wolf. We all have a good wolf and a bad wolf, and it's like, which one will we choose to feed? So this is actually based on an ancient tale of the two wolves, a popular legend of the Cherokee people. So this old legend features a grandfather and a grandson. And the grandson talks about how there's these two wolves fighting, and it sort of explains the inner conflict, these two wolves fighting. And when the grandson asks the grandfather which wolf will win, the grandfather responds with, whichever he chooses to feed. So the lesson in all that, if you like, is that we have a choice. We might have a negative voice. A lot of us have a negative voice because the science tells us we have this negativity bias. And we'll go into that in the second week of this course. But essentially, we have these ancient minds that are wired to notice what hasn't gone well in our day or what we're not doing well. So that was useful back in the day when we were being, chased by a tiger or whatever, so that it would motivate us to run and get away. But now we don't need that mechanism so much, but our brains still seem to have this sort of negativity bias. So it's good to notice that and know that we can actually make a choice to lean towards the positive. You know how we talked about that in some of the previous videos. We can have a choice point, notice these negative thoughts and lean towards the positive. So we all have a good wolf and a bad wolf. Which one will we choose to feed? And the good thing is we can cultivate our ability to take in pleasure and to notice the good and to grow the good within us. Yeah, there's a neuroscientist called Dr. Rick Hanson. He has a wonderful course called The Foundations of Wellbeing. And he talks about, how it's really essential to learn these skills of how to rewire our brain for the better. So we can use everyday, ordinary experiences to grow the good within us. I get quite excited about this. So our brains are malleable. We can change the way that we operate and become a more positive person over time. So how do we do this? We can take in pleasure. So taking in pleasure might be noticing just really simple things, like noticing the cool air against your skin and how does it feel, and really taking it in. Or noticing a positive interaction that you had with someone. So when I say positive, like enjoyable, or maybe you added some value to someone's day, and really acknowledge, that you had that motivation and that inner character to really give to that person. So it's good to reflect at the end of your day on, these nice moments, or taking in pleasure. And what have you done well, at the end of your day? So this could be seen as gratitude, or noticing, things you're thankful for in your day. You can write down at the end of your day these moments where you've really taken in pleasure and what you've done well. So it's really good to notice not just, what might have not gone so well in your day, but also notice what you've done well. Even the small things, like hanging out a load of washing. So helping ourselves feel successful. These are ways we can feed the good wolf. So we can make an effort to really notice what has gone well and feed the good wolf. So we become a more positive and happy person. And the science tells us that our ability to savor a positive experience is actually essential to having a really great state of well-being. I like to, it's just good to know the science. So these things are, known to work. Number 3, if you're feeling low or down, give to others. So acts of kindness. These are not just niceties. They're actually also proven to activate circuits in the brain that are key to fostering well-being. So there's science behind this part as well. So it's good so when you give something to someone, either by helping them with their groceries, maybe you did that recently, or maybe you just simply, help that elderly man or lady over the road who looks like they could do with a hand lifting something or doing the lawns. When we do these acts of kindness, it's not only good for us, it's not only good for them, it's also good for us. It's good for the person giving as well as the person you give to. So you can see here I'm talking about everyday experiences and how we can cultivate kindness within ourselves and how we can give to others. And so there's also formal practices around, giving to ourselves. There's something called a loving kindness meditation. And yoga also can be more of a formal practice when we actually dedicate time to heart practices and being mindful and really coming into the present moment. So this is all being kind to ourselves so we can have more to give to others. So, in summary, the value of kindness is about giving to ourselves. It's also, knowing that we all have a good wolf and a bad wolf that we can choose to feed. And number 3, if you're feeling low or down, it's always good to give to others. So for me personally, I've had an experience when I was living in Auckland, and I was just feeling a bit unfulfilled in my job. And I got invited to work on a volunteer program called Adaptive Athletes, which was for young people with disabilities, with mental and physical disabilities. And I just got so much fulfillment out of helping these young people. And I noticed that, every time I finished a session, I just get these beautiful messages from all the carers we were working with and the gym staff. And they said things like, hey, thanks for today, Joe. People really loved your compassion and your empathy and your joy that you give to others. And I was actually feeling quite low in myself at that point in my life. I was sort of getting ready to leave my job. I was getting curious about well-being stuff and personal growth. And on the side, I just started volunteering. And honestly, it lifted my spirits so much. And also, it gave me a little bit of a clue as to how I could get more in line with my purpose in life. So these are some clues for purpose as well. Giving to others in a meaningful way. So give to others through something that you really enjoy and you find meaningful can really, show some of your inner character strengths. All right. I hope you've enjoyed this video on kindness, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.